What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS, and as always, I'm here with my guy, Dino Bam Bam.
DS, what up, dog?
Not much, brother. I'm a little bit hungover, but I'm still ready to break this goddamn fight card down with you. How you feeling?
I'm saying, I'm all right. A little hungover myself. Last night was what the kids these days are calling a movie, but yeah, it was fun. I had some fun.
I guess
you wanted towards the end of the night. You were kind of tempting me to throw overhand rights at people. I don't know, but
I was gonna say I think I was throwing a few too many teep kicks.
Yeah,
but that's
fine.
Neither here nor there. Obviously, we're here to break down the fight night card coming up with Dolidze versus Imavov. We've got 13 fights on the docket. Do you have anything you want to say before we get right into it, my brother?
Yeah, actually, I do. I would like to say thank you to the viewers. If you guys are enjoying the content or have enjoyed previous content or are looking forward to future content, go ahead and do us a favor. Hit that little subscribe button. Ring the little bell. Dino, go ahead.
Blah, 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 and such.
Yeah, that's the virtual bell. It wasn't the most optimistic or best sounding bell today, but he's hungover. Cut the guy some slack. Yeah, do that. Follow us on Instagram at the107MMA. Cool pictures with us and fighters. And we actually dropped an interview this week with somebody on this card. We'll go ahead and link that in the little description below. And if you keep watching, you'll find out who it is.
That's all we got to say.
That's it.
That being said, let's dive right into it. Like I said, we've got 13 fights on the docket. And the first fight of the night is with the big boys. We're starting off at heavyweight, of course, with Thomas Peterson taking on, he's making his UFC debut. He's taking on relative UFC newcomer, Jamal Pogues. Dino, what do you think about this one?
All right, let me see. Is this the right button? Boom, that's the right button, baby. Hey, look, I'm multitasking, so bear with me. We're trying some stuff.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. Anyway, Thomas Peterson, as you mentioned, he is a newcomer to the UFC, coming to us from Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series. He's a wrestler, man. That's all he really is. Dino, his striking isn't really anything special at all, but of course he does have solid power being such a big boy. He's going to rely on his wrestling. If he's able to take his opponent down, he stays heavy on top, does a great job with the ground control. Solid, safe ground and pound. He has a lot of finishes via ground and pound. In his last fight, we saw him pull off the Americana. I think that was his first submission in his career. So we don't really know what his jiu-jitsu is like, but I don't necessarily know how much he really needs it. Little side note, his only loss of his career was to Waldo Cortez Acosta in the LFA for the LFA vacant title.
Not a great loss.
Not a great loss, but I guess, he's here and he's winning. So, yet to be determined is where I'll keep that. But Jamal, not everyone, let's say he's everyone's like least favorite fighter in the heavyweight division, though. Waldo Cortez Acosta. After that performance against Araujo, shit was really annoying. But anyways, Jamal Pogues, volume striker, big boy. Doesn't really have too much power, though. His grappling is okay as well. He's solidly well-rounded. He's really nothing special for the division. I think we've seen that at this point, especially in his last fight against Mick Parkin. He didn't look great in that one. Mick Parkin, again, still up in the air about how good he is, but whatever. This one seems pretty simple to me off the bat, Dino. I think Jamal is the better striker, but after that, Peterson's really better in every other area. I'm going Thomas Peterson, man. I don't think that Jamal can deal with the level of wrestling that Peterson brings. I feel like he's going to get a takedown quickly, and he's going to find a finish. Going ground and pound, round 2, and now we switch to you, my friend. You get airtime.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know that I see Jamal Pogues as a volume striker. I think maybe that's another way to say that he doesn't really have knockout power at the heavyweight division. Yeah, listen, I'm not a big Jamal Pogues guy. I think he fights kind of like he's a lazy guy, like a lazy fighter. Obviously he's a professional fighter. Who am I to say I'm talking shit here sitting on my ass? But yeah, last fight out, we saw Mick Parkin basically show you the game plan how to beat him, right? I mean, it's just pepper him with shots, stay at a distance. Jamal Pogues isn't going to pull anything outrageous out of his bag, so very low output at times. I could even, Thomas Peterson's going to want to take it to the ground for sure. And I think he will succeed, and I think you're right. I think eventually he does find the ground and pound finish. Jamal Pogues is tough. I mean, I could see it going to decision too. Thomas Peterson, neither of these guys have a ton of experience. Thomas Peterson is, he came into the UFC. He's coming in as the LFA heavyweight champ for what that's worth. But yeah, I mean, Pogues is a jiu-jitsu black belt too. Not something that we really see him using, and I just think against a really strong wrestler like Peterson, he's going to have issues, just like you said. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Thomas Peterson. I think I'm going to go by decision, though. but fairly high confidence pick on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I think for the first time this year, me and you are in agreement finally on the first fight of the night. I think I'm 2-0 and you're 0-2, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah.
But
I've been doing good on those.
let's get it, baby. I'm glad you're on my side this time.
I'm saying, let's go. Next fight of the night, we've got Markel Medeiros. Is he making his UFC debut? Oh, I have my notes.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's coming from the Contender Series as well. He's taking on your boy, Landon Quinones. Is he a your boy? I don't know. For some reason, I felt like he might be.
I don't know why you would think that, brother. I don't think I've ever talked to you about him, you know?
I don't know. I guess we never really discussed him. He just kind of, like, he looked like he might be. Anyway, these two are about to fight. Is it the highest level fight? Not necessarily. Like I said, Medeiros also coming from the Contender Series. He spent most of his pro career at Fury. He's got a bunch of KO finishes, right? And he was taking on a pretty good grappler too, very sticky. Medeiros showed good scrambles along with the hands to go with it. Great composure. He trains at Factory X. One thing I don't like from him is how easily he seems to give up his back. I've noticed it in a couple of his fights. So, something to be aware of there. He's a smooth striker. He's got nice jabs. I like the repertoire on the feet overall. For me, he's pretty well-rounded overall. Landon is a striker as well. So, I expect most of this fight to take place on the feet. I just think, to me, Medeiros these guys are actually pretty similar, right? I watched the tape on both of them. They kind of have similar fight styles. To me, Medeiros is just the more natural striker. I just feel like to him, it seems to come more naturally. He's a smoother striker, not taking anything away from Quinones necessarily. Yeah, I just think Medeiros is going to land the better shots, man. I actually think that he could be something interesting in the division. I hope he gets the win here, and I'm excited to see him fight, to be honest with you. I'm going to go Medeiros by decision. Landon's tough, and he put out a good fight last time, too, versus Nasrat Haqparast, who obviously has a lot more experience than him. So, for me, it's going to be a pretty good fight. It's going to take place on the feet, but give me Medeiros by decision here.
I'm 100% with you on everything here. I think, to me, this fight, it boils down to the eye test, and Medeiros is the guy that passes the eye test more for me. I think Landon Quinones is tough. I think he's not an easy dude to get out of there. I'm going with the decision as well. Medeiros by unanimous decision. I think the KO is definitely in play with this guy. But I'm going decision as well.
Landon's tough, So I mean, he's got a decent chin too.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. You broke it down perfectly. I see it exactly the same way you do.
Wow, that's so nice of you to say.
There it is.
Moving on to the third fight of the night, we've got our first women's fight. We've got Yulia Stoliarenko taking on Luana Carolina. What a banger of a fight. This one is. Dino, Bam Bam, give me your breakdown.
Yeah, I don't want to, Dino. Forget it. Let's just we skip this one. No, I'm playing with you. But Julia Stoliarenko, man, she's a grappler, very good submission skills. She's always alive in a fight, right? She snatches up subs like pretty damn quickly. Good ground control as well. On the feet, she is absolutely nothing special at all. She's getting a lot of credit from a lot of people for dominating Meatball Molly. But, Molly, we're going to see her later on in this card. We're going to break her down. But she's a good fighter, but she has nothing on the ground. So, anyways, that's Julia Stoliarenko's story. Luana Carolina, she's obviously the better striker in this one. She does have that Muay Thai background. She's the one I think that you're always complaining about, where you're like, how in the world was she a Muay Thai?
Yeah, dude, I thought the same thing. Every time she's up to fight, I'm like, this is the best that Brazil has in Muay Thai?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But her takedown defense is okay. On the feet, she doesn't have the best power. She's not the best fighter, but in a weird way, she is well-rounded. I feel like she's okay in most areas, and I guess slightly excels in the striking.
I think she knows how to leverage her length to some extent too. So it ends
100%.
up keeping her safe in certain situations.
100%, and she is long-bodied. So look, I would not be shocked at all if Luana Carolina pulled this fight off. Julia Stoliarenko's record is 11-7. That is not impressive. That's not UFC caliber, really. How can anyone be confident in picking any one of these two ladies in this one? I'm not touching this fight at all as far as betting's concerned. Mm-hmm. I hate that I have to pick her, but I do have to pick her, even though I think she's the worst fighter. So I'm going with Julia Stoliarenko by sub, because we've seen Luana Carolina get taken down, and that's kind of been her kryptonite. I can see that being the story of this fight. But yeah, I do think, for the record, let the record show that Luana Carolina is the better fighter of these two for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly like you said, Yulia pretty much has like a special move. It's the arm bar. So you'll definitely see her trying to latch one of those up. Listen, I'm not a big Carolina fan, right? I'm not a big Luana Carolina fan. To me, she's slow. She doesn't have a lot of power. Yulia is the much, much better grappler. Yulia is not good on the feet, but I just think that when you've got lower level fighters, I feel like the wrestling tends to win out. It's easier to dominate with. So yeah, I agree with you. I think we're gonna get a sub. I'm gonna say either first or second round armbar by Yulia Stoliarenko. If Petrovic was able to take you down, that Croatian lady that was debuting, which she was able to take down Luana Carolina, I mean, Yulia Stoliarenko is gonna be able to do the same. And I mean, she's still only 30 years old, man.
Yeah.
And she looked dominant in the last fight. I know it's Molly McCann, but yeah, another win is versus Jessica Rose Clark. So do with that info what you will. But, hey, she's 30. Maybe she's found something, right? Maybe she's figured something out. She could be on a 2-fight winning streak. I do expect her to be. So we'll see. But, yeah, I'm going to go Yulia Stoliarenko by sub.
All right, so that's 3 for 3. We're on the same page now. Are we doing this the whole card? Is this like the theme that's going on?
Well, I'm actually very curious who you have here in the next fight. And, of course, the next fight on the docket is my boy, Blake Bilder, and he's taking on Jung Lee.
Dino, hold on. Calm down.
Okay.
I'm full screening you here. I need a quick. You know what happens? You have to say something when Blake Bilder is fighting.
Blake the Builder. Is that what you want?
That's what it is, bro. That's it. That's his little catchphrase, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, you made it up. It's your catchphrase about him.
True. That's gay.
So shout out Blake the Builder. No, that's not. Come on.
That's pretty gay. Which is fine. Nothing against it.
We don't judge here at V107 MMA. You can be whatever you want to be.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So.
But
that's how you feel right now.
I made a little catchphrase for another man. That's sketchy. But anyway, I like Blake Bilder, man. He's my guy. At times he's a little low output, right? But I think we kind of have an idea of who he is, right? I think he's a good fighter. He's very well rounded, right? He's got some nice hands. He's got pretty crisp boxing. I like watching him, right? He looks smooth on the feet. He's never really out of his element anywhere, But I don't know, man. Like he doesn't excel anywhere really. At times he's low output. We've seen him rocked a handful of times too. So is he a little chinny maybe? We haven't seen him like put out, he's always in the fight. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But he's taking on a striker who has really good power. In my opinion, I do expect Jung Lee to have the power advantage, and potentially also have the speed advantage on the feet. Jung Lee, we haven't seen him in a hot minute though, right? He's been out for what, a year?
He was actually on that his last fight, which was technically his first fight in the UFC, was the road to the UFC finale, which was our first full card breakdown.
Yeah.
So
yep. Yeah, and so going back.
Yeah, you're all over the place, brother.
Going back to Blake the Builder, I'm fucked up now. He in his last fight versus Kyle Nelson. I mean, Kyle Nelson kind of held him against the cage at will for parts of the fight. He, looked like the better kickboxer too, And now he's taking on another guy who's dangerous. Speaking of armbar special moves, Jung Lee also loves the armbar. He doesn't have, I think, as many finishes as Yulia Stoliarenko by it. Also, 5 of his 10 pro fights have been first-round finishes. He's super confident. He's on a 7-fight win streak. Some of it wasn't against the toughest competition. Let's be real. I do expect this fight to take place on the feet. Lee is tough to take down, so I think, and he's a little bit taller too. I don't expect Blake Bilder to take him down or try to really work any ground game. I think Blake is more than happy to stand and bang. Right? Blake is a shorter fighter. Like I said, we've seen it. We've seen his chin tested a little bit, man. I gotta go with Lee, man. I just think he's gonna land the better shots. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage. We've seen Blake kind of, I don't want to say exposed, but I think we're getting an understanding of kind of where he fits in the division. So he's tough as hell. I'm going to go with a decision. My only question with Lee, I guess, is the cardio, right? So we did see him gas out pretty badly versus Yiza. So if the cardio plays a factor, we know that Blake can go 3 rounds for sure, and keep up at a pretty a decent pace as well. So that's kind of the big question mark for me here. But I hate to do it, man, but I got to go with Lee. I just think he's going to be faster potentially and definitely have more power.
Interesting that you say that because, yeah, I agree. He might be the faster. He's definitely the faster fighter. He might have more power. But what I think Blake Bilder has over him, over Jung Young Lee, is pure strength. Now, I'm talking about when we get to the ground, and you don't expect this fight to get to the ground. I do, man. I think Blake Bilder is going to work in the grappling. He does have those good sub skills. I think if he's able to take Lee down, he'll be able to hold him down. And that's where that cardio that you were talking about, I think, is going to come into play. I think he fades. I'm actually going with Blake Bilder, man. I think he gets a decision here. I've been following Blake Bilder on IG for a hot minute now. I'm seeing the work that this guy's putting in. Cardio is definitely not going to be an issue for this dude.
No, never.
So I can see this being a fun, scrappy, dirty-ass fight. And I'm down and I'm rooting for Blake Bilder. So maybe this is me just being kind of optimistic, but I'm going Blake Bilder by decision.
I'm also rooting for him. And let's not forget, man. I mean, he's not like super young, right? He's like our age. Yeah, he's like 33. Yeah, 33 years old. Oh, his birthday is literally like 10 days before mine and shit. Yeah, but he's got a lot of heart. And yeah, I mean, given that he's only 10 fights into his career, it's definitely possible that he continues to make strides. So, and like you said, man, I am a fan. I am rooting for him. And it's really, really close here. It's really, really close for me. I originally was picking Blake Bilder, but I ended up switching. So
it's not like you, man. That's not like you.
It's not. And I hate picking against my guys, especially when they end up winning. Then I feel like a douchebag.
You know what's crazy, Dino?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? We start with Blake Bilder, who is a yo boy, right?
He is.
And then we hit a span here of 3 our boys in a row.
Yep. Absolutely. So, I was literally just thinking that too. You ruined my transition, but I was going to say, speaking of our boys, we've got Themba Gorimbo taking on Pete Rodriguez at 170. Dino, give us your take on this one, brother.
Themba Gorimbo, baby, he's back. Dino, you know about his brother. You guys will soon find out about his brother at some point or another. Themba Gorimbo, absolute our boy. Good striker, long-bodied as hell. Keeps his distance.
Are you talking about Frimbo?
I'm talking about Frimbo, but they don't know about Frimbo Gorimbo yet.
Frimbo Gorimbo is like the prospect to watch, I think.
I mean, he's the next guy we're getting in the UFC, but that's that's for another subject for another day. We can
make a whole separate video.
Yeah, we should do a whole series about Frimbo Gorimbo.
Let's do it. We'll discuss it.
There it is. All right, but anyways, Themba Gorimbo, like I said, long-bodied striker, good counter striking, not like the video game, but like in the cage. His wrestling is solid, man, offensively and defensively. I think he's shown that he can compete on a UFC level in the grappling. And then, Dino, he's facing Pete Rodriguez, and it's a short notice fight for Pete Rodriguez, who has already had so many problems making weight. He's missed weight and like pulled out of fights with, I think it was Natan Levy, like 3 times. Couldn't make 155. UFC has now forced him to go up to 170. He's doing this on short notice. I just don't think Pete is UFC level. And I'm sorry to say that, and it sounds shitty, but I think it's true.
You said that last time, too.
Yeah, and who did he beat? Let's talk about being not UFC level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he beat Mike Jackson.
There it is, Mike Jackson. And Mike Jackson is probably one of the least UFC level guys.
You're right.
So, look, I think Themba Gorimbo is 5 times the fighter Pete Rodriguez is. Sounds shitty. I might look really stupid and have to eat my words if he wins this fight because there is a chance he throws big as hell. So he could touch your chin and you go out. Odds are big. I'm comfortable parlaying this. I'm going Themba Gorimbo. I think he outclasses him to a decision.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you, man. For me, it's funny because I really do enjoy watching Pete Rodriguez fight. He's just explosive. He's got huge, massive power. Like, just throws massive shots. I mean, last time out, he had a put Mike Jackson to absolute sleep with a beautiful knee. So, and by the way, whoever that lady announcing Icon Fights is god-awful. I just want to say that. She literally didn't know the name for half guard. I forgot what the hell she called it, but what are you doing?
Me?
No, what's she doing?
No, I don't know.
You know.
I was just
Anyway,
looking at Tapology. I was like, what's wrong with that? You know?
no, you're chilling. I'm just saying it's weird. But anyway, Pete is vicious, man. He's always looking to do damage. He throws massive, massive shots. They're kind of opposite fighters, right? Where Themba is like so long and lanky.
Yeah.
And like you would expect him to like be this like great striker, but he's not. Like he's not like super polished on the feet. Pete Rodriguez is certainly not polished either. He's only 8 fights into his career too, I want to say, right?
Yep.
6 fights in. So he's super raw still, but he just throws absolute haymakers. You're absolutely right, though. I'm going to go with Gorimbo. I think he's going to get a decision. I think it's going to be a pretty boring fight. Pete Rodriguez really has one way to win it, and it's to land a massive knockout shot and knock, Themba out cold. I just don't see it, man. The height advantage, the reach advantage, we're talking about 4 inches in reach and like, 3 or 4 inches in height, something like that. But, yeah, I mean, Pete really has just the one chance. He's got to make Themba respect him on the feet. Obviously, he could land the shot, but I fully agree with you, man. I'm going to go Themba Gorimbo by unanimous decision.
Dino, check this out. So upon looking a little further into the Tapology, we were talking about Mike Jackson, right? So I didn't know that Mike Jackson had fought since the Pete Rodriguez fight, but I know he was cut from the UFC. He went to Cage Aggression 36 and fought a 56-year-old Pat Miletich.
Oh, my God.
And got the win via retirement after round 2. So that's his first real win, because his only other win was when Dean Barry kicked his nuts in and then gouged him. And then they cut Dean Barry after one fight.
Is that fire?
Shout out Mike Jackson, man. Happy that he beat the 78-year-old Pat Miletich.
That's cool. I love that. That's amazing. Cool. You're doing some real journalizing there. So.
Let's go.
Anyway, moving on to the 6th fight of the night, we have got our boy Charles Johnson and
Energy.
Charles the Energy Johnson. So if you haven't, obviously we did an interview with Charles earlier right before the weekend that dropped this past weekend. Check it out. Right? It was a great conversation. Honestly, I really enjoyed talking to Charles. I really enjoyed his mindset, and I think he gave some great insights into the mind of a fighter. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. And my favorite part of the interview, Baby Gia, she was adorable. She was killing it.
She was crushing it, dude. She was literally crushing that milk, though, for real. She was going to town. I love that.
The milk and those little purple things, those look delicious. Where do I get those? You know what I'm saying?
She was going to town. I love that for her, though.
Yeah, I'm down to eat some purple shit. So,
and if you haven't seen Baby Gia, she's all over Charles' Instagram.
Yeah.
So, and we had some fun with some of the questions too. But anyway, this weekend he'll be taking on Azat Maksum. Listen, man, first thing I noticed when I was looking at the fight here is Azat Maksum. He's from Kazakhstan, by the way. Terrible haircut, just have to say. His first 8 fights were against guys that were either, mind you, he's 17-0, right? Yeah, 17-0. He's undefeated. His first 8 fights, okay, here's how it went. Record, not available. Record, not available. Guy making his pro fight debut. Guy making his pro fight debut. Record, not available. 1 and 2. Another guy debuting. Another guy debuting. And another guy debuting. So his first 8 fights were literally against guys who were just making their debut. So 17-0 is, let's say, overblown for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then last time out, he fought Tyson Nam. He didn't look bad, He looked all right. Tyson Nam was landing some nice shots too. He's taking on our boy Charles Johnson, right? So listen, Azat Maksum, he's got a nice jab, right? He does a good job setting his combos up with the jab. For me, he's fought terrible competition. He didn't look great against Tyson Nam. It was a split decision, right? So Charles Johnson is very, very well-rounded. He is, he's been with really, really good fighters. I just think that experience level is going to make a big difference here, man. I think Charles is comfortable everywhere. He's got some decent power, right? He's a good grappler. I think he's going to be able to hold his own. And Azat Maksum is, he's pretty well-rounded himself. To me, I don't know. The eye test doesn't really tell me a ton about him. I don't feel amazing about him. I think it's a very, very winnable fight for Charles Johnson. So we'll see. Azat Maksum, he used his jab and he used a lot of stance switches versus Tyson Nam. So he's tricky in that regard. But I just think Charles has been there before. He's seen it all, right? So I'm gonna go Charles Johnson by decision here.
Love that. Love that. Azat Maksum, I do want to say, yes, he looked a little, he did look tricky. The stance switches were nice. The whole thing, though, is when you're fighting Tyson Nam, it's don't get clipped by this guy, right? You're worried about the one-shot power. He knew he should be better on the ground. He knew he should be the quicker fighter, all that. And it was like you weren't even able to dominate Tyson Nam on the ground.
Yep.
Right? Charles Johnson, you don't necessarily have to worry about his one-shot power. That's not, that's not his game. That's not what energies bring into the table. When it comes to the striking, he's a touch him up kind of guy. He's a counter striker. He's in and he's out. That's his whole style. It's not the one-shot power. And then when it comes to the wrestling, he has a lot more wrestling than Tyson Nam does. So my thought process behind this for Azat Maksum is like, you weren't able to dominate Tyson Nam with the takedowns and the wrestling. How in the world can you do that to Charles Johnson? Also, for what it's worth, energy, man, he's on the last fight of his contract. He needs this win, Dino, to get himself another contract. The hunger's there. I have to go with our boy by decision. He's hungry and needs a win. So I'm rooting for him, and that's that.
As am I,
Yep.
honestly. After talking to him, absolutely rooting for him. Not taking anything away from Azat Maksum, of course. I'm sure he's a nice guy in his own right. But, yeah, and also I will say, talking to him, pretty much exactly a week, from fight day, he seems very relaxed. He seems very focused. So the mindset, we have a little bit of extra insight on Charles that we don't have on these other fighters on the card, right? So, yeah, I like his mindset. I think his head's in the right place. Obviously physically, he's always in great shape, so that's not really a worry. Yeah, I agree, and hopefully he gets the W, man. Let's see it.
Let's get it.
Moving on to the seventh fight of the night, we've got your girl, Molly McCann, and she's taking on Diana Belbita. This is just a fucking clunker, right? But you got a little bit of the Molly McCann factor. She's still fun. She's interesting as a person more than anything, right? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, Molly McCann. First and foremost, yes, my girl. I didn't really love Molly, man. And then I met her, and Dino, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Nicest person I've met of all these fighters, all these people that we've met in the UFC and Bellator and whatever, literally just the nicest lady I've ever met, which shocked me. Absolutely shocked me because her persona is like this, this tough badass. Her nickname's Meatball. She's supposed to be brutish, and she hangs out with Patty and he's a little bit of a fucking asshole, and that's the whole thing. But yeah, I loved Molly, man. But anyways, she's back in the cage.
She's like a novelty in some senses.
She is. And it's one of those things where it's like, you're saying it's a clunker, but Molly McCann's fighting on the card. Like, everyone's kind of interested. Everyone wants to see her. There is definitely some built-in interest. It's not like, two random ladies fighting on the prelims. Anytime Molly's in there, you're always kind of interested to see what she does, right?
Yep.
And she does have those.
I just want to say real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did see an Instagram comment. I forgot who made it or what page it was, but I forgot what the post was. But Molly McCann had posted something, and then somebody like one of those like meme MMA pages on Instagram commented. It was like, "Oil up, Molly, I'm coming, I'm coming," and then she was like, "For fuck's sake, like." And then everybody's like, rate my Riz or some shit. And then she DM'd him, or he DM'd for her first, maybe. And she's like, go gentle, mate. Like, I just thought that was hilarious.
This oiled up shit is taking on a life of its own. It's wild.
Did you see the oiled up Dana? Like the AI that I said?
Yeah, that was wild.
Crazy.
Wild.
The look on his face, he's just devastated, dude. He's just like, fuck. Like, it's finally happening.
If we don't get a main event for 300, that might have to be it.
Oh, shit.
Oiling his ass up in the cage, you know what I mean?
Oh shit!
I think some of the diehards will take that. But anyways, Molly McCann, good striker. Dino, she always puts on a show for what it's worth. She likes to scrap. She's down to get brawly as hell. Decent power, solid technique. She is on a 2-fight losing streak right now. I'd love to see her win, and rebound here. On the other hand, she's taking on Diana Belbita, as I say, and I've heard a lot of announcers say. I don't know why there's no S in her last name, but we'll roll with it. Diana Belbita, she's the younger fighter here. She's well-rounded. She is a striker, though, for sure. That's like her first and foremost thing. Throws tons of volume when she throws. Great cardio for her and Molly in this one. I don't think cardio is going to be a factor in this one. She took the L last time out against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. No shame in that one. Karolina's a stud, dude. The odds in this one really shocked me. Minus 250 for Meatball Molly seems a little crazy to me.
Whoa.
I think here's what I think's happening.
They definitely went up.
They definitely went up, but what I think is happening here is I think the UFC wants Molly McCann to stick around. They want her to have a little bit of name value. I think they set up this fight with Diana Belbita thinking that Molly will win this one. Obviously, that doesn't always happen when you want it to, but I'm going to trust Meatball Molly here. I'm taking her by decision. I don't want to bet this fight, but I'm rooting for Molly McCann.
Yeah, and I want to take it back. I feel like clunker wasn't the right word because Molly herself is just fun. I mean, dude, she had a spinning elbow knockout, right? So how boring can
Two of them be?
I'm sorry. Yeah, she had a couple. So that's like her special move. So for me, it's just like let's say you're not expecting Molly to like make a run for the title, right? And certainly not expecting Diana Belbita to make a run for the title.
Speak for yourself, Dino.
Yeah, and Molly, we saw Molly's performance versus Hannah Goldie, I want to say it was, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And she was getting pieced up by Hannah Goldie until she ended up finding the finish, right? So we'll see, but yeah, I'm with her at least one more time, man. I do want her to win. Diana Belbita, she's going to throw some volume, right? And Molly McCann is just going to be better on the ground too. I could see a sub. I could definitely see a sub, but I'm going to go with Molly by decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Moving on to the next fight, it is Gilbert Urbina, and he's taking on Chuck Buffalo, of course, who last time out made some real waves with his post-fight conference, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That was him. Yep, that was him.
Yeah, this is a super fun one, man. This one has fight of the night written all over it, in my opinion. At least it's got a good chance to be that.
How good of a nickname is that, Dino?
What?
How good of a nickname is Chuck Buffalo?
Chuck Buffalo is an absolute S tier nickname.
You think so? We should do a nickname tier list.
Oh, I like that.
We've been thinking about getting into tier lists. So
I like that.
Next time shit's dry for a little.
Write it down.
Yep, let's get it.
Yeah, listen, Gilbert Urbina, man, he first of all physically has really improved his physique, right? He just looks so much better than he did like 2 fights ago. So clearly something has clicked in his mind. He looked pretty damn shredded last time out. Gilbert Urbina is also 6'3" at 170. So dude is tall as hell. And last time out versus Ryan Kosi, we saw him really mix it up nicely. Good kicks, had some nice fast punches, looked to have some pretty good power as well. At one point got Orion into a mount, and he was landing some big shots from there. He actually looked to really be fighting smart too, which he continued to strike, didn't go for some like random ass submission when he was actually doing good damage. I hate when fighters do that. So, to me, he seemed like a pretty smart fighter. He's taken on, of course, Chuck Buffalo. There's going to be a 5-inch height advantage here and a 3-inch reach advantage for Urbina. Radtke, of course, he's fighting out of Chicago, by the way. Did you know that?
I did.
So, yeah, we've got Chuck Buffalo fighting out of Chicago. He's primarily a boxer, right? He's out there headhunting, but he is also a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's going to want to take your head off. He's going to be swinging to knock this guy out. So, my question is, I'm curious to see, I guess, if Radtke will have the cardio advantage, right? Because we did see Gilbert Urbina gas pretty badly in a couple of his fights, even with the improved physical or the look of the physical conditioning, at least, right? So stylistically, these guys are pretty similar, in my opinion. They're both strikers first. I think the reach advantage and the height advantage is actually going to be something here. I expect Urbina to land the bigger shots. Chuck Buffalo, he's going to want to stand and bang. I just don't think that's super smart with somebody who's got such a reach advantage on you, too. A KO is live either way, in my opinion. And also, Chuck Buffalo's fun. I want him to, he's a fun personality, right? And we've said before, we don't have a ton of stars. So somebody like Chuck Buffalo, I bet Dana wants him to win. You know what I mean? He's a guy that certainly could have at least a little bit of star power. I mean, he's obviously abrasive to some, because of the shit that he says. But at the same time, it's headlines, right? And any press is good press, as they say. So We'll see. You know, the cardio is a bit of a question mark for Urbina, in my opinion, but Radtke didn't look amazing versus Blood Diamond. I'm not super high on Blood Diamond myself, so I'm going to go Urbina. I'm going to go by decision, but really a KO is live either way, like I said. So,
yeah, I think this is going to be a fun, scrappy fight. I do think a little bit differently about both of them than you do. I feel like they're more like grapplers that have good power that are kind of like just down to scrap for some reason. Like that's the vibe I get from both of these guys. But yeah, I think it probably stays on the feet for most of it because you're right. They are two dudes that are down to fucking brawl. To me, Dino, the difference is the cardio. It's also the level of competition. I think Gilbert Urbina has the advantage in both of those things there. I feel like if Gilbert Urbina doesn't get taken down and end up on bottom position here, he's better off everywhere else in this fight.
So you think Urbina has the better cardio?
I do.
Interesting.
I do. Yeah, and here's the thing with Charles Radtke. Upon watching his fights, like to me, he's okay. He was able to beat Blood Diamond, right? Blood Diamond, as we know, a high level striker, but not really a high level MMA guy. Like I'm just not sold yet, man. He seemed fun, like you said. There is some star power there. I just think Gilbert Urbina has been more through the gauntlet, man. He did the Ultimate Fighter. He fought Brian Battle. He fought Tresean Gore. You know, he's fought some dudes, man, and I think the experience is definitely going to play into it. Look, let's see who gets cracked, and I think Gilbert Urbina is going to be the one doing the cracking. I'm going Gilbert Urbina by TKO. I think it's going to be like one of those situations where he drops him, just gets on top, and just starts, pounding it out. Pause. But yeah,
I could see it. I could see him pounding it out.
Sometimes you got to pound it out, brother.
I feel you. You're in there sweaty and shit and just all hot and bothered. You got to pound it out. Respect, though. Moving on to the 9th fight of the night, we've got Aliaskhab Khizriev. Smart. We've got Aliaskhab Khizriev taking on Makhmud Muradov. All right. Khizriev is another guy that is undefeated, 14-0, but another guy with some stat padding, right? Not quite as bad as the last gentleman that I was just talking about in the same regard, but we'll see. Khizriev is coming off a year-long hiatus. Do you know why he's been out? I couldn't really find anything on it.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, he's another guy who fought cancer for a good majority of his career at this point. He's a really, really good wrestler. He's a really, really, really strong wrestler, like in that Russian Khabib level kind of grappling too. He's suffocating. He wants to take your back and submit you. That's ultimately his goal, right? He's not the most polished striker, but he does have good power. He's got really good power, and he's willing to stand and bang. My biggest issue with him is that this dude, his head is like this the whole fight. No movement. It's fucking no head on a swivel, nothing. His head is dead ass, straight on, and he just eats shots. So Muradov is a powerful. He's got a lot of power. He's much more polished as a striker. So to me, I guess that's the biggest question is this guy going to be able to utilize that wrestling before he gets his head knocked clean off? To his credit, it did look like in his last few fights that I've watched that he actually has a pretty good chin. So we'll see. I think Muradov definitely needs this win pretty badly. I actually expected him to be a little bit better than kind of what we've seen thus far. We'll see. Maybe just have, bad luck with the draw to this point. For me, Khizriev's a little bit too willing to just stand there and bang for somebody with his skill set. But ultimately, even though Muradov is a good wrestler in his own right, I do expect Aliaskhab Khizriev to be able to take him to the ground and still work the wrestling. He's just too damn good of a wrestler, even though Muradov is okay in his own right in that, in that same field. Yep. The Muradov KO prop is very, very live, right? So I would watch out for that because, like I said, the other dude does not move his head off the center line whatsoever, right? He just straight takes shots or blocks them. That's it. But yeah, I'm going to go Aliaskhab Khizriev by decision here. I just think the wrestling advantage is a pretty big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to add. You broke it down pretty damn well. I am also going with Khizriev, but I am going by submission. I think he's going to end up finding an RNC in this one in the second round. But as you said, Muradov, very live for an underdog, very live for a knockout. The thing with Khizriev, Dino, he was signed to the UFC in 2020, okay? Signed in 2020. And he's 1-0, man. There's been 5 fights that have been canceled. 3 of them where he withdrew.
I saw that, dude. Yeah.
One where his opponent withdrew. One was COVID. So it's like, it's pretty typical of, the Dagestanis, especially the undefeated ones, to do a lot of pulling out. But, this is the position we find ourselves in. Yeah, I'm going Khizriev. I think he advances to 15-0 via sub here.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what's good. I mean, he actually looks like he could be a decent prospect too. And yes, the record's
33, man.
What's up?
He's 33,
So, I mean, just in terms of somebody who I could see rising up quickly in the rankings, especially because he's 33. Yeah. So, also, I think you were supposed to go first on that one. I just straight up stole it. So, I'll let you go next on this sick-ass one if you'd like. And, of course, the 10th fight of the night is Viviane Araujo taking on Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva, obviously, a legit prospect to watch, in my opinion. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, thanks for giving me this banger, dude. I really appreciate that.
This is actually a pretty good women's fight.
Yeah, it's solid. Viviane Araujo. One big thing that comes into play here. She's 37 years old, so we'll start with that. 37 years old, man. She is a grappler, Dino, but she does have some decent striking on her side. She's really damn athletic. She's pretty fast and explosive in her ground transitions. The thing is, with a lot of these people that are very athletic, a lot of these fighters, what do we see? They explode a lot, and then they're exhausted by the end of fights. That's been a little bit of a theme for Viviane Araujo. She's starting to look really tired towards the end of fights. She's fighting Natalia Silva, 27 years old. She's nice on the feet, good technique. She doesn't have like the most power in the world, but again, another person that I think is very strong in the grappling. I think she's just physically strong, good wrestling. We saw that, Dino, against Jasmine Jasdavicius, where she was able to out-wrestle a grappler, with that high of a praise, right? So she was able to out-wrestle.
What Jasmine just did to Priscilla Capoeira.
Exactly. And this girl, Natalia Silva, was able to out-wrestle Jasmine Jasdavicius. Look, man, I cannot pick Vivi here. I don't think there's a possibility that she wins this fight. Natalia Silva, to me, is the better fighter. She's 10 years younger. I think she just coasts to a 30-27 comfortable decision for Natalia Silva.
Yeah, man, you pretty much broke it all down. Natalia Silva is 10 years younger. She's also more experienced. She's had many more fights. She's had not many more, but she's had a 5 more fights, than Viviane Araujo. So, look, she's more experienced. She's so bouncy too. I love her feints. I think she's got pretty damn good power. I mean, I think she actually is one of the few women in the division that could potentially get a straight up knockout. So she fights hard, man. She throws hard. She's got nice snap on her punches. She's got good speed. We saw her rock Andrea Lee's shit like pretty badly several times. And Andrea Lee's a good fighter, man. So, yeah, I think she's the truth. I think Viviane Araujo, there's still a place for her. She's 37, though, like you said. She's obviously at the tail end of her career. She is still a good fighter. I think it's going to be a fun scrap. But, yeah, I just think Natalia Silva is the truth, man. I think she's going to be somebody that we're going to see fighting for a title very soon. So I've got high hopes for her. It's not anything against Vivi. It's just more the fact that Natalia Silva, I just think, is that damn good. So I think her striking is really on point. And I'm going to take her by decision. Viviane, she is tough. We'll see what happens, but I'll take her by decision.
Yeah, I'm down. I agree with you. One thing, Dino, I was really tripping because for half of that breakdown, while I was doing it, I had these guys' names up on the screen.
Oh, shit.
So just for future reference, brother, if you see that, let me know. We got to look professional. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, but I'm literally speaking and trying to look into the camera. I can't look at the camera and also look at.
I know. The growing pains, guys. Growing pains. Stick with us.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's not that big of a deal. You figured it out. It's all good. Moving on to the, what is it? Yeah, I'm sorry. There's one more fight. We've got Randy Rude Boy Brown. He is taking on Muslim Salikhov. He's 39 years old. Something to note. What do you think about this one?
Okay. I'm going first here.
Yes.
Okay. All right, man. Hey, let's get it. Randy Rude Boy Brown. Another absolute R boy. We have a picture with him on IG at the107MMA. Y'all should go check that out and follow us there. But anywho, he's like a super long, tall striker. Loves to keep his range. Does a great job, like staying on the outside and kind of picking at people until he explodes. And he does a great job in the clinch. He's got good takedowns. He's pretty fast for his size. Like, I like Randy Brown. I think Randy Brown is one of those people that could be in the top 10 in this division if things just kind of like fell the right way for him. He's had a tough, little streak these last like 2 years, I think, but he's a good fighter, dude. He's fighting Muslim Salikhov. Obviously, we know he's all about striking. He's a kung fu guy. He throws hard as hell. The kicks, Dino, they scare the shit out of me, and they've been scaring the shit out of me for a long time. Like, if one of those lands, he's going to decapitate someone. The punches are meant to take your head off as well. We've seen some of the steam coming off of those as he's gotten older. So he's no longer maybe the crazy knockout threat that he once was, but he's still pretty damn good. He's able to be taken down and controlled at this point in his career, even though he does have some grappling in his back pocket. I just feel like Randy Brown at 33 years old is not declining yet. And if he is declining, he's not declining as rapidly as Muslim Salikhov is at his age. We've seen his cardio start to go Muslim Salikhov. We've seen some of the power starting to come off of those shots, as I mentioned. I got to take Rude Boy here, Dino. I think he gets a late finish, round 3 TKO up against the cage as Muslim Salikhov starts to fade in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you very well broke it down, my friend. This was a really tough one for me to pick. I've kind of gone back and forth, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I like Randy Brown. I don't know, man. Like, he just never it always seems like he's gonna do something really nice, and then he doesn't. Like, he looks like he's about to get a finish, and then he doesn't. So there's something that's always missing. So, and then honestly, dude, if you look at Muslim Salikhov's recent record, he's got a loss to Nicholas Dalby, unanimous decision. Tight fight, right? And I mean, it wasn't super one-sided or anything. And also, that has aged so nicely now with the Bonfim loss to Dalby too, right? And then his other losses to Li Jingliang. So those are pretty high-level fighters to lose to, man. And I know he's 39 years old, but he throws with absolute fury. And those leg kicks are really what worry me, right? I mean, if he can slow down the movement of Randy Brown with those powerful-ass leg kicks that he throws a shit ton of them too. So if you neutralize Randy Brown's movement, Muslim Salikhov is absolutely going to have more power, even at 39 or 40 years old almost at this point, right? And then Randy always kind of, finds a way to let people back into the fight. So, this is super, super close. I'm going to pick Randy, but I don't think I'm touching this one betting-wise. I can tell you for sure it's not going to be in the parlay, at least, money line-wise, or picking a winner in this one. It's going to be tough. I'm excited to see it. It should be a pretty fun fight, but, give me Randy Brown hesitantly by decision here. If he's going to win, I think he can just pepper him from the outside, use that movement to kind of neutralize what Muslim Salikhov is trying to do. Muslim Salikhov just looks like a guy he would shake your hand and break your fucking hand if you wanted to.
Right. He does look strong as shit. Here's what I was saying, Dino, with Randy Brown. Let me phrase it this way. It always seems like he gets on a little bit of a streak, and you're like, okay, it's finally the time. He's starting to make some noise, and then he hits a wall, right? He loses to somebody, and it just kind of kills all fucking momentum. We saw that. He had a 2-fight after losing to Bilal and Nico Price early on in his UFC career. He goes on to beat Brian Barberina, Warley Alves, 2 good fighters, loses to Vicente Luque. All right, maybe you just weren't ready for that test yet, right? Goes on to beat Cowboy Oliveira, Jared Gooden, Chaos Williams, Francisco Trinaldo. Dude's on absolute fire, runs into Jack Della and just loses that one. And that was a terrible performance. That was on the card in Perth. Awful performance.
He looked terrible.
What is it?
He looked like he didn't want to be there.
I'm saying. And then in June, of course, he did go beat Wellington Turman. So we'll see. Maybe, my whole thought process here.
But he had some moments in that fight too where he didn't look the best.
Yeah, agreed. I just don't think Muslim Salikhov at almost 40 years old is those guys that Randy Brown is losing to. So look, it'll be a dangerous fight. There's definitely the possibility of a Salikhov knockout in this one. But yeah, I am trusting Randy Rude Boy.
Let's get it, man. Moving on to the co-main event, we've got Renato Moicano finally making his debut, man. Why the hell does this guy not debut, but his return? Sorry. Yeah. Why the hell is he never fighting, dude?
He's sitting there talking about Moicano wants money.
That's really what I'm trying to say. He literally says he wants money. He wants all this shit. He was super active in 2022. He fought one time in 2023. And it was in what? Feb? Or no, I don't even think he fought in 2023. He fought
in
Right?
22, I think.
Yeah, he last fought in November of 2022. Got a win over Brad Riddell in the first round. I know he didn't get injured in that fight.
Yeah, and that was the short notice one. That's where the whole Moicano wants money thing came out. He had some injuries, man, and he had to like pull out. There was a fight I believe that was canceled against Arman Sarukian at some point.
It was,
But
yeah. That was supposed to be in April of last year. But then how the fuck are we almost a year later, bro? You were supposed to fight Sarukian,
yeah,
and then you didn't, and then now it's 10 months later, and you're now just fighting. Like it's just weird. I mean, unless he had a big injury that I'm not aware of in that time frame.
yeah, he was definitely injured. I do watch him on YouTube a lot. I don't remember what the injury is, but I don't know, man. He's been doing his YouTube shit and grinding on that, and good for him. It's a pretty fun channel. I will link that for you guys in the description below. But
There you
yeah,
go.
let's see what happens.
Yeah. Listen, the only reason I say that is because I like watching the guy fight, right?
Of
He's
course.
fun. He's another guy that could potentially be a star because of his, well, first of all, he's one of the few Brazilians that actually speaks a little bit English. So that alone makes him very appealing. I'm sure Dana would want him at the top of the division. And of course, Renato Moicano's taking on Drew Dober. And Drew Dober, you know, the Crimson Chin himself, he is just a monster. Last time out, we saw him get knocked out by Matt the Steamroller Frivola, which was obviously brutal. But that's just kind of what you get with Drew Dober, right? He's going to throw absolute bangers. He's down to scrap. He's got a pretty, I mean, he just like is, you see, like he fights and like basically the way that he looks, right? He's got the big ass chin and he basically just absorbs strikes to the dome, to the chin.
Yeah.
So listen, I mean, this is going to be such a fun ass fight, no question about it. Is it co-main event worthy for a fight night card? I think so. You know, I think it's a decent fight. It's going to be really fun. Like I said, man, Dober has massive power. He's always live for the knockout. To me, I just think Renato Moicano is more skilled all around. You know, obviously he's going to be the better grappler. He's not bad on the feet. You know, I think most people consider him to be more of a jiu-jitsu guy at this point.
Yes.
But I mean, he can hold his own on the feet. I think he does a good job with distance control, and he mixes it up. I think he's going to hold his own. The only thing he can't do is just get straight up flatline, right? So as long as he stays out of the way of the big shots, and I think he's got good enough movement ability to be able to do that. I think at some point we will see this get to the ground, and I just in those scrambles, in those quick moments, you know, I just don't think that Drew Dober is going to have enough time to react. At some point, he'll find his back. At some point, he'll find a joint, something like that, right? So for me, there's only two ways that this fight can really end. It's either Dober by KO or Moicano by submission. So I'm going to go Moicano by submission, man. I just think he's overall, like I said, a little bit more skilled in general. Dober's power can be a problem, but I'm going to go with Moicano by decision, man. I'm going to say round 2.
You said Moicano by submission round 2.
By submission. I'm sorry. Jesus.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. You're 150% right. There is only two ways this fight ends. It is the Dober by knockout or the Moicano by submission. Dino, like my whole thing is when you look at Renato Moicano, I do believe, yes, he is the better fighter of the two. He is the more skilled one. But his chin, man, it kind of worries me, dude. We've seen him get cracked. And, you know, obviously we saw Dober take his first knockout not too long ago. But we've seen it a couple more times out of Moicano. Granted, Moicano's losses are to the elite of the elite. It's former champions. It's former title contenders. It's top dogs in the division. I think this fight is going to be super duper damn exciting. I think we're getting a finish one way or the other. I like both guys. You know, I'd love to see Moicano win and get more active. I'd like to see Dober win and kind of just continue on his way and see what he can become. I feel like ring rust can play into it here with Moicano. I'm going to take the underdog. And Drew. Yeah.
Oh, is he the underdog?
Yeah, Drew Dober's the underdog here, not by much. I forget what the odds are. Let me check that out really quickly. Drew Dober plus 120. So it's damn near.
Drew Dober's Tapology picture is crazy, bro.
Yeah, the chin looks wild in that one.
The chin is popping in that one. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Drew Dober Dino by knockout. I think this fight's gonna get really fucking sloppy at some point, and I think he's gonna land. And when he does, I think, you know, a TKO is likely. But shit, who knows? Moicano can definitely win this fight, not white. You said black earlier when you were trying to say something, and now I said white when I was trying to say something. Really fucking random. But yeah, this fight's gonna be fun as hell. It's gonna be super scrappy. I'm not betting it. I'm not rooting for anyone. I just want to sit down and fucking enjoy what should be a banger of a fight.
Absolutely. And for what it's worth, too, on Tapology, dead ass even 50% as far as what the public thinks on this one. And exactly. I feel the same way. If you're going to bet anything on this one, I would bet the under. So,
Let's get it.
Moving on to the main event of the evening. And of course, we have got Boy. No, I'm just kidding. Is Roman Dolidze a Boy? Definitely not, right? Yeah, we've got Roman Dolidze taking on Nassourdine Imavov. And what do you think about this one, Dino Bam Bam? It's kind of a weird main event, right? Like, it's not like there's not a lot of name value.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I guess they are guys towards the top of the middleweight division. But anyway, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm with you again there. This is not like a super high class fight night main event. I was looking, and this is a little bit of a tangent before I get into this. I was looking at the UFC 299 card, which, as we know, is absolutely super stacked. And in between 299 and 300, there are 3 fight nights with just fucking atrocious main events. Just fucking atrocious main events. One of them was like the Rose Namajunas one. And then there was like a Tai Tuivasa one and like whatever. And then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you have Peter Yan and Song Yadong on the prelims of 299 when that can be the head, the main event of an unbelievable fight night. But I don't know what the UFC's doing. As far as these guys, like name value wise, no, they're not great, but they are good fighters. And
they're really good.
Yeah, and they're towards the top of the division. So we'll start with the not my boy, Roman Dolidze. He's Georgian, man.
I'm sorry, Dino, real quick. We got Hermanson versus Pfeiffer.
And then we got fucking Peter Yan on the prelims. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I would rather see Sadiq Youssef and Diego Lopez be the main event of a fight night than be on the prelims of 300.
Low-key, this one on February 24th slaps, though. Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval, and then Ortega versus Yair in the Groman.
Right. Yeah, they're doing that one in Mexico. You knew they're going to stack that card. But anyways, let's get into this.
Sorry, yes.
Roman Dolidze, Georgian, super high-level grappler, man. But lately, he has fallen in love with his hands. He does have serious power, though. I mean, you look at the dude, and he looks thick-bodied as shit. He's got, like, the chest hair. Like, dude looks fucking powerful, and he is.
He's got, like, a small Zangief kind of, like, look to him.
Right, mini Zangief, like Zangief Jr. Dino, in his last fight against an actual my boy and Marvin Vettori, Roman Dolidze did not look for a takedown at all. And he ended up losing.
I thought he won that fight, by the way.
Regardless, yeah. I mean, it was a close fight, but the game plan was absolute dog shit from Roman Dolidze for me in that one. He was on absolute fire, and then he put a roadblock in front of himself by not going for the wrestling. Now, Marvin Vettori is a good grappler. We know Marvin Vettori is very well-rounded, but that was such an easy path to victory, in my opinion, for Roman Dolidze. He refused to do it. He wanted to stand and bang. It looked like he was approaching, getting really close to getting a world title opportunity, and he kind of set himself back.
It really did.
Yeah. So we'll see how
I thought he was next, honestly.
Yeah, he was getting there, man. He was 1 or 2 fights away. So we'll see how he rebounds. He's fighting Nassourdine Imavov. He's 27 years old, which surprised me. I feel like every time we break down Nassourdine Imavov, I'm shocked by how young he is. I always think he's a little bit older than that because his striking is very advanced. It looks like a guy that's been that's been striking for a really long time. He looks like a veteran striker. He's very long bodied. He's always walking forward, walking his opponents down, super crisp on the feet. Can't really knock anything he does in the stand-up department. On the ground, he is solid too. He's of Dagestani origin, I believe. Like, I think he was born in Dagestan.
He is.
Yeah. And if you're born in Dagestan, I think
he's ethnically Dagestani.
Right. So he's ethnically Dagestani. And I feel like if you're Dagestani, like as soon as you're born, there's like this fucker is good at wrestling. So like you get that. So that's a nice plus 10 to your wrestling.
And he's French, so he's got the French kickboxing with the Dagestani wrestling. I mean, if you were making somebody in a lab, that's not a bad combo.
Yeah, so not a bad combo at all. I think, Dino, when it comes down to this fight, it's very simple. To me, it is, again, a striker versus a grappler fight. whoever is able to impose their game plan is going to win this one. If it stays on the feet, Nassourdine Imavov wins this fight either by TKO late or he ends up just cruising to a decision. If we go to the ground, I think Roman Dolidze is very likely to get a submission. Now, Roman Dolidze knows that he fucked up against Marvin Vettori. That's what I'm banking on here. And I think he knows he can't stand with this guy because it ain't going to work out for him if he does. So I think he'll try to wrestle. So I'm going to go with Roman Dolidze here. I'm going by submission, Dino, in round 3. But if he stands up with Nassourdine Imavov, there's like a 90% chance Imavov beats him, even though there is the little chance that he finds the chin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much broke it down, man. There's not a whole lot to add as far as the actual fight breakdown. You know, Imavov, like you said, I also was surprised at his age as well. Every time that we talk about him, same kind of thing. Dolidze, man, he's one of the scarier fighters on the roster. Like, the dude throws with reckless abandon, and like even his submissions, like you just like seeing a jacked ass guy like that, just like wrecking somebody's arm and shoulder and shit. The dude is terrifying, in my opinion.
And he fucking cranks him, dude. Like, he's looking to hurt you when he's
literally looking to hurt you. And like,
yeah.
I feel like he is dead ass, like out there, like he's an actual warrior. He's not doing it for sport. Like, this dude is here to like fucking hurt people. So yeah, listen, I just don't really see Dolidze taking it to the ground or really like trying to take it to the ground. Imavov also, they're like very different builds, right? Like, even though they're only like an inch apart in height, I want to say Imavov is the longer guy, and he's tough to take down, man. I don't think he's going to be like just go straight down to the ground, and I just think he's going to land more shots on the feet, man. I just think he's going to be able to impose his game plan. I see his movement's actually really good. I like his defensive movement in general too. He is 7 years younger, so I got to go with him, man. I'm going to go Imavov by decision. I think it's going to be a good fight. In my opinion, if Roman is going to win, he has to get a finish. So he's got to get the sub, and he's live for a knockout or a sub, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So, I'm not like super, super high confidence on it. But Nassourdine Imavov, like you said as well, younger fighter. He's only 27. It's very possible that, and he has looked improved every single time that we've seen him. So it's very possible that he continues to improve. I'm excited for the fight. Is it like the best main event? Not necessarily, but I think it'll be a fun fight. And these are two high-level fighters. Roman Dolidze, man, just going back to it, it's unfortunate. Like, what a weird, like, he's terrifying. He's a guy that I look at, I'm like, I would not fuck with this dude, Mm-hmm. And what a, just like a weird wasted opportunity, I really thought he was like, middleweight all of a sudden got crowded too at the same time too. So it's like, you're probably cooked now. You lose this fight, you're definitely cooked for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably, you're at that point, you're 4 fights away from a title, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, you're right. I mean, like, if this fight plays out the way you're saying it's going to play out, there's no question in my mind. I mean, there's a small question, but I think Nassourdine Imavov is good enough to win the fight on the feet. Like, I'm picking him 9 times out of 10 if we're doing a Muay Thai fight.
Right.
Obviously the power is there, but anyways, I just think Dolidze, man, it's like, if you want to be a contender here, that's it. This is like approaching your last damn shot. Imavov is going to be in this top 10 for a couple of years. We know that. So
yep,
that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, let's go.
Let's see it, man. That's it. That wraps up the card. Unless you have something else to add. UFC's back. At least we can say that. It's not a bad little card. I think there's some fun fights on there. Urbina, Radtke, something to look out for. Obviously, the return of Renato Moicano. Drew Dober is always fun. I mean, you can never have a boring Drew Dober fight. And then, honestly, I'm kind of excited to see what Thomas Peterson can do at heavyweight. Does he look like the highest level prospect? No, but I think he's got a fun skill set, and we'll see what's good.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Charles Johnson.
Let's go, energy, baby. That's like the biggest thing for me. I'm rooting for energy on this card. That's what's most important. But next week, like an okay card, I guess. Your boy Damir Hadjovic, he's on the card. But Jack Herman, yeah, he's on the card next week. And then Jack Hermanson and Joe Pyfer are of course the main event. Should be fun. Dino, I'm always looking forward to UFC fights when we have a week off.
This dude's still in the UFC?
Yeah, I don't know, brother. It seems like it. He's fighting next week, so he's got to be here. But shit, I'm excited. Dino, we're rambling. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, man, I'm good.
All right, guys. He's DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. We are the 10-7 MMA. If
Oh,
y'all
I'm looking kind of
enjoy,
jacked right now, though.
yeah, your arms look fucking thick, my boy. But if y'all enjoy, do us a favor. Hit the little subscribe button. Ring the bell. Dino, can we get a legit bell this time?
Woo!
There it is. That's the legit virtual bell. Ring that bell. That's going to notify you when our videos drop. Also, follow us on Instagram at the 10-7 MMA. He's DS right there. He's DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.
Peace.